We all are finding different ways to enjoy ourselves more, to have more, to accomplish more. But one of the key things that's needed is mental toughness in order to enjoy anything. And I have a really cool story that I think is going to help illustrate why we need mental toughness to have a better life. The catcher of the 1990 Mets was a guy named Mackey Sasser. He was a great athlete. He was 210 pounds, 6'1". He was very agile and fast and could hit a ball like crazy, but he had one little problem. He had a case of the yips. And it drove the fans crazy. The other opposing teams knew that he had this case of the yips, so they would play on it. And what the yips is every time you get the ball back, all you have to do after you catch the ball is throw it right back to the pitcher. And so he would have this annoying problem where he'd have to keep yipping the ball into his glove or clapping it into his glove to restart and throw the ball back to the pitcher. It drove the New York Mets fans crazy that year, and it cost them pretty badly because opposing teams figured it out and actually began to play on it. They would steal bases in between the times when he was yipping. When I found out about it, I thought it was incredibly interesting, but what gets even crazier is the fact that he never figured out why he had the yips until about 10 years after he retired from the MLB. He actually sat down with a psychologist and got information about where it all started and why he keeps seemingly doing something that is so simple to do. The story continues, and we end up finding out that in his youth, his older brother got hit by a car right in front of him, and it affected him very, very deeply. As he got into high school, he played football when he was 18 years old, and he played quarterback. He played with a lot bigger men than him. When he was trying to throw the football, he would get his ribs hurt. He would get thrown down to the ground, and it would be pretty bad. As he got into the MLB and started becoming a catcher, all these things began to affect him, and that's what caused the hesitation or the yipping when he was throwing back to the pitcher. He found this out, like I said, years after he got out of the league, but no one could ever find out what the problem was when trainers worked with him inside the league, when he got meditation techniques, breathing techniques. He couldn't figure out exactly what to do. The point of the story is that yips can affect all of us, and we all can get a case of the yips when it comes to business, in life, in relationships, school. You start and you stutter step, you fail over and over again. The question is, are we going to wait till after things are done and after time passes to actually figure out what's causing our yips and what's making us not be the person who we want to be? So in order to understand where our yips are in our life and how to actually get past them, we have to build what's called mental toughness. Starting up this company, Revive, and building this brand, we had a lot of yips. Even personally, I've dealt with yips in my life, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this have dealt with it too. And there's some simple things that go over our heads a lot of the times if we're not told that you can do to actually build mental toughness. And I say it starts with humility. Now, what I mean by humility is not self-deprecating, not telling people like, I'm a bad person, no, I don't deserve this. That's just as bad as being arrogant. True humility is just seeing the things around you and seeing yourself as it is. And when you have that, it gives you a lot of power to actually change things for the better. It takes time to build that up, but you could start with little things, like, is your room dirty? The people you live with, what do they think about you? Start asking them serious questions. And you'll be very hurt by the first answers you get, but if you learn to accept it and know that you're hearing it from someone who loves you, then slowly you can begin down the path of humility. I'm not saying I'm the most humble person in the world, but I know this is the steps that it takes in order to build that muscle. Now, judgment. Everybody says, I'm not judging, don't judge people, don't judge lest ye be judged, but the truth is that we need judgment in our lives, and it's evident in the things that we consume on a daily basis, like the TV shows we watch, for instance, the X Factor, So You Think You Can Dance, Judge Judy. That's one of my favorite shows. Everybody watches that, and why do we watch so intentfully, and why do we enjoy hearing people who are of stature or who are where we want to be nitpick and decide what's best for the person or the subject on the TV show? Because we kind of want that. We want to be adjusted and told if we're doing the right thing or if we're way off track or way off base. And if we have no sense of that, then we end up stumbling all over the place, and that makes you miserable. So judgment from the right person and in the right way is a good thing. Another thing about judgment is people can tell you the truth, and some people that you know and that I know will say that they're proud of telling the truth to someone or not afraid to tell it like it is. And there's a good quote by Edith Stein that I think really encapsulates what good judgment should actually be like. Do not accept anything as truth that lacks love, and do not accept anything as love that lacks truth. One without the other is a destructive life. And I think about that when you're getting any kind of advice. We tend to know what's wrong with us a lot of the time, but hearing it from someone else who loves us can sometimes sting, but if we know what their intent is for us, that they want the best for us, sometimes it can help us face those bad parts of ourselves and actually try to change them. So doing that enough, spending time examining yourself and what needs to be changed, and allowing people to come into your life with the right intentions can help build mental toughness. Getting a lot of this dosage of truth telling and self-searching and going through your past can be taxing on you mentally, and it can definitely be discouraging, especially when you get to come to grips with some of the things that you really don't like about yourself. But one thing I would say is being patient with yourself and understanding that you're not going to get it right on the first try a lot of times, and you're going to fail a lot, and that's okay. But if you keep pushing, giving it a whack, giving it a try, sooner or later you're going to see little improvements. And if you have humility, you'll be able to take pride in those little improvements and be happy with the progress that you made and feel encouraged to do more. Being patient with yourself in that respect is incredibly important. One thing is getting the right perspective about your shortcomings and what needs to grow and what's going on around you. Another key aspect of being patient with yourself is building the physical aspect to meet that. And that doesn't mean that you need to have a six-pack. It doesn't mean that you need to be a perfect person, but you do need to take steps in learning what exactly is going on with you and letting your body absorb it. So what that takes is breathing, simply breathing. Deep in and deep out. There's tons of YouTube videos out there that can teach you about it, but spending time doing it. Meditating is really important. And then just running, getting active and being with other people. There's so much support and so much good energy out there when people are actually getting active. Doing the active part of healing and building your mental toughness changes you. Not be so easily mired or dumped off when something bad happens to you. So being patient with yourself in that respect is very important. All of it together is there to build your mental toughness, because you're going to take a lot of losses and not everything will work out the way you want it to. And you're going to deal with a lot of yips, and a lot of people are going to call you weak-minded and stupid, and you're going to fail. As time goes on, you can work past your yips if you really begin to be humble, be patient with yourself, and look for the right kind of